We're back here with the second map in this best of 3 matchup between Enemy and Conquest here in the StarLadder series. I am your host, Bach. With me is Dust Moret. Now, we just watched a pretty one-sided affair in map number 1.
Yes. Yes, we did. Now, win and get kills. Because that definitely didn't happen last map on either front. It's really that simple, man. Like, they were getting good map control at times. They just weren't winning duels at all. Like, yeah. I mean, that it really came down to just that. Like, at some point, you got to get the kills, and they just weren't getting them. No matter what tactic they tried to use. And again, like I said, some of their tactics actually got them in decent positions. Like, mid control was well secured on many different occasions. They just couldn't actually get up connector or catwalk without taking so many casualties. And then their lurker was getting picked off every single time by like daps or hazed pushing A or something like that, or Stanislaw pushing upper B. You know, they just need, if they're going to have those players on the extremities, they need to stay alive and give their team a chance to like work whatever it is they're looking to do without getting picked off. And with it being Inferno, this is a map I've seen Enemy show some promise on. They have a lot of good NA results on it online. They took Renegades to the wire on it on LAN. They're a good Inferno team, but the problem is, so is Conquest. I mean, when you look at Conquest online results on Inferno, they've been pretty impressive. They've only dropped it a couple of times. In fact, if you look at all of their Inferno play, their only losses on Inferno are to Luminosity, Virtus.pro, and Mousesports. I mean, come on. They're beating like pretty much all the other NA teams on this map, including Enemy at times. So, again, I think this is just a situation where Conquest just has a better all-around map pool and just better talent overall. At least tonight, for sure, from what we're seeing from the fragging.
Yeah, and with them starting on the CT side, it's just going to be an innate advantage. You can see exactly what we were just talking about playing out right there. ShahZaM peeks window, takes down the first player. He's going to get traded out by MAiNLiNE. The Glock jumping around the corner just a little bit too much to handle. But look at what the CT side is doing. It's almost like Enemy is aware of what's about to happen here. They go for this kind of late push in towards Banana, and it works out wonderfully, but they lose quite a bit of players over in mid. Still lurking in that position is Uber. He's going to get caught out by Stanislaw, who just struggles to find the head. But still in the B site is the rest of the T squad, and they are going to get that bomb down. It's going to make it a 1v3, and Stanislaw without a kit only has a decoy and armor. Going to be a little bit difficult. He's just going to have to put on kind of a shooting gallery here, as there is 3 players in excellent crossfire here. 1 on Banana, 1 behind Newbox, and 1 in Dark Spot. He's making his way up towards Spindles, jumping up over top of the Spindles, going to go for a barbecue, but he's actually going to get his head taken off by Uber. So Enemy wins a must-win pistol round. And that is absolutely vital to them bringing themselves back into this, because confidence.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of overconfidence from Conquest, right? Just like, you know, ShahZaM makes that initial push and gets 1 kill. That's fine, but then he gets a little bit greedy, tries to push out for more and dies. And then on top of that, Conquest is pushing mid with a couple of players. And I mean, Enemy is a good enough terrorist side team on Inferno to deal with that. In fact, this is probably one of their best T sides in the whole rotation, is their Inferno terrorist side. They're quite good on it, especially in many of their online NA matches against either better teams or similar caliber teams. So, yeah, I definitely think that Conquest, though they have a huge edge, they can't take it lightly. You know, the Enemy is still a really solid Inferno team from what I've seen over the past few months.
And they are going to try and work towards Banana again. They have 2 players in the site. This time it's daps with the CZ75 armor, and Stanislaw towards the back of site, rocking the deagle. And he's sitting towards Dark Spot. Still a lot of patience from Enemy. And that's kind of the name of the game when it comes to Inferno, is just slow, methodical play. I have a feeling in my head that that's why it plays out to Enemy's favor. They are a very slow and methodical team. In general, they like to take their time in rounds. They like to figure out what's going on, what the CT side is doing. I think that's what gives them kind of a promising future, is that it's not about speed or let's just try and out-frag them. It's more about, let's play this the right way. Let's play this as a team. Let's use tactics and real strategies. And it could be what makes them a pretty good team eventually. They just have to work out the kinks. They're all really young, and most of them, this is their first season playing at this level, so you can't really blame them. Koosta's going to get that first pick as he tries to go for the B execute. Relyks getting shut down, but with Koosta already taking the A side by himself, the rest of the T side follows. The only one lingering towards B is going to be Uber, and he's just sitting back towards Timber Pile, hoping to catch the rotators.
Yeah, this is pretty much over. Just well played by Enemy, you know, putting that initial pressure on B, kind of forcing the rotate. Then Koosta comes up. The art side, he gets a couple of kills. And they're able to fall the bomb back off now to an empty A bomb site while still maintaining some pressure on B to kind of hold Conquest in place. So just really good movement there from Enemy on how they move back and forth between the sites, and just as well as getting some nice kills. And so they will get the 2-0 start, very likely a 3-0, but ShahZaM does pick up the MAC-10, and he does have head armor, as well as daps having a CZ and head armor. So they can still pose a little bit of a threat next round on those two guys at least. Maybe making some type of aggressive play with that MAC-10, see if they can't disrupt Enemy. But other than that, Enemy are well on their way to getting that 3-0 start on T side, which is great for this map, right? As CT side this map can be, to get a good start on the terror side is certainly good news for Enemy.
Yeah, and you can see koosta's going to hold on to that MAC-10, playing that economy game. He's going to try and build up as much money as he can. Now, one thing I've seen a lot of players doing recently is actually holding on to that gun in the buy round, because the MAC-10 is surprisingly good for what it is. Just a small submachine gun, shoots really tiny bullets, but the armor penetration, rate of fire is actually good enough that at a close range, you can go toe-to-toe with the M4A1. The M4A4 is a little bit harder because of the faster fire rate, but I've seen multiple players now who opt to keep this gun rather than trade it out for something else. Looks like they are going to go for an execute towards B right now. First player is going to get shut down, but there's one up on the box. That's Stanislaw trying to spot some heads. Hazed goes down as well. And now ShahZaM coming in with the deagle. Almost puts a shot into the lit koosta through the smoke. Both players trapped in CT now. Rush does have a MAC-10, but armorless, so going to be a little bit difficult to do anything with that. Almost wish to see him throw it to ShahZaM and see if he can make something happen. There's no sense in saving at this point. They're just trying to do some eco damage and then try to potentially get into the site, maybe take an AK with them, but going to be quite difficult. ShahZaM goes down. Rush, the last hope with the MAC-10. Actually going to get a nice headshot on Uber, and I believe Uber had an AK, so if he can wait this out, he can pick it up, and now it's going to force the T side into a position to try and do so, so koosta's not going to be able to hold on to that MAC-10. He's going to lose it, but I imagine he's just going to get aggressive here in a second. Try and dispatch of Rush. Can't quite spot him. Goes down to the bomb. Rush survives, and he's going to beeline it for that AK. Oh! Tough noogies. Can't get it.
Yeah, the explosion sent it across the spawn, so he couldn't pick it up. But just Enemy brute forcing himself to the B bomb site there. Despite it being kind of a slight stack for Conquest on that side, they still fell apart. So good job there for Enemy. Now up 3-0, they got the op in koosta's hands. They have full utility. And again, this team is usually quite solid on the terror side, and Conquest is not even at full capacity here. I mean, they have a couple of FAMASs in play, so they're not fully healthy in their own equipment value right now. So this plays into Enemy's hands a little bit. They will just put koosta's op here at mid, just kind of looking for pushes through the smoke, while the rest just kind of set up default. You got Anomaly and MAiNLiNE in the alt mid, the rest over towards Banana. They're actually putting a lot of pressure on Car right now. This is try to make sure they have control of top B. Push any CTs back into the site, deny them that information, and they're actually boosting up koosta to look for a kill. But Stanislaw's not going to be able to get spotted. He's playing behind the fountain, not in the back corner, so they will fall off of that.
Uber sees some bullets fly through the smoke, but ducks behind the wall just in time to avoid them. And again, this is Inferno to a T. Very slow. It's like plays out like molasses as teams just try to get information, try to find a pick, and then use that to rotate the CT team. But it's not going to happen this round. They're going to have to force the issue. A good smoke cuts ShahZaM off, and they're going to molly towards the cubby just in case there's a player in that position. MAiNLiNE trying to peek through the edge of the smoke, but there's no gaps in this one. And the T side's still just stacked up in B. They need to move soon. Their execution could fall apart if they don't move quickly here. And you can see ShahZaM went for that peek, and Relyks takes him out. Now they're going to pinch towards the B site. Bomb still down in T-spawn by stairs, but the mid to B with one coming up Banana right now. They're going to have to fight this player in construction. That's going to be daps. He's got the FAMAS. Takes down Relyks, looking for more. Takes down two and puts a lot of damage on Anomaly as well. He's down very low, but the site does go to the T side. Do they have the time to plant? Yes, just barely. Koosta getting in there. And that, again, you can't really talk about it enough. It's just the way Inferno plays. It's not the first time you see a team barely get the bomb plan off. And it's put CLG, I'm going to say CLG because of hazed. Thanks a lot. Conquest into a difficult spot now as they have the weaker rifles and no nades to work with.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough to try to retake here. Rush now all alone, trying to see if he can't find somebody just ducking down. Anomaly will hop up and grab the kill. And so it is 4-0 start now for EnemyGG. well done. I think it was a bit too slow. Like, they almost didn't get the bomb planted there. But again, it's just what they always do. They try to get control of the car. They try to get into apartments and, get control of boiler. And then from there, you just work into brackets and you're just looking for kills, looking for control. But Conquest were playing so passive. For one, they didn't have any intel, so they were kind of stuck in their spot, so they couldn't really rotate properly. And two, they didn't win any of those fights at the end. It was enemy who overpowers them, and now it's Conquest on just pistols. They will be stacking that B bomb site. Enemy again playing slow, looking for the aggression. Just playing that 2-1-2, looking to get slow control of everything. But they don't have any presence in apartments. It seems like they're gathering up for a pretty big B hit here, and they're going to run right into this stack.
And it's not like it's USPs, it's 5.7s, P250s, CZs. It's actually decent pistols here. Even ShahZaM, he's got the Zeus. He's prepared to use it. You can see he's sitting around the corner. And knowing ShahZaM, he's going to giggle so hard if that Zeus gets him a kill.
Well, Anomaly, if they give Anomaly a chance, he could, find out that it's actually a B stack, but they're not. They're just going to go ahead and rush into B anyhow. They do have one kill. They still actually don't know what's up.
Yeah, so they lose Uber on the site. Now the call's been made, but it's a little bit too late. They've already lost a rifle over here. It doesn't really seem to matter, as the MAC-10s and rifles seem to be doing decent work. They only lost one player, and that was Uber. So now daps all by himself. He's got the CZ coming in from Banana, and it's going to be Anomaly holding that position, feeling a little bit more confident here at 4-0. Getting a frag per round is not too shabby. Once they get that 5th frag, keep him up at 1 FPR. And daps pretty much in a position where he's just going for exit frags, so Anomaly's just going to wait. Oh, the reload at the worst possible time. Almost goes down, has to use his own pistol. And now he's actually not going to get the kill. Looks like his teammate Relyks coming in on the flank is going to take him out. So 5 rounds now on the board for enemy, and that's kind of an acceptable scoreline on the T side at half, 5 rounds, with Inferno being as CT-sided as it is.
Yeah, I mean, if they can just get one more round, they'll be golden. If they get up to 7, they'll be in really, really good shape. So this is certainly good news for enemy, especially after what happened in the first map. They need to win this one to force the 3rd to have a chance to stay in the upper bracket, not have to move down to the lower side of things yet in this qualifier. So there's a lot riding on this, and they're rising to the occasion right now. But we are going to see Conquest on a nice, full, comfortable buy. Remember, last round they were on FAMASas and such. Now they actually have full M4s in the off in ShahZaM's hands, so this is certainly going to give them a bit more to fight with, as they are trying to contest car a bit here. daps is playing the sandbag. Stanislaw also kind of pushed up, so they're trying to win these fights here and now, not just fall back into the site and allow the control for enemy. They want to contest this a bit. They're holding them back okay so far. But now they're finally forced back into the site with that fire, and now enemy will get that map control if they want. They have control of car, they have Anomaly in apartments. MAiNLiNE's already kind of sniffing out things at brackets, so they have that map control to work with now, all across the board.
Yeah, and that's, the way you like to see a CT side play, just get aggressive early on and then just slowly retreat. Because you cut them off early, don't give them any early map control, use your nades to keep them at bay, and then just keep moving the line back further and further. And then eventually, there's about 30 seconds left in the round, and the T side has to go for an execute. Makes it very difficult to get into a site.
Here's the other problem. daps and stuff have already used all their nades at B, so they don't have it for this execute.
And they're going to lose daps, and Stanislaw very low on HP, and you can see it's the T side making it into the site. Bomb plant with 15 seconds left on the clock. And now you kind of wonder if the CT side should save, and they're going to make that call. You can see the 4-man, that's ShahZaM. He's already rotated out of position. Anomaly gets cut off in mid, trying to go for some exit frags. Kind of had an idea that that's what was going to be happening, but has to put his head on a swivel with players on each side. So now it's going to be 6 rounds for enemy. I think it's time for Conquest to consider a tactical pause. I casted a game the other night. It was Method and Denial on Inferno. And Method, I mean, they were down 7-0, and they still didn't take a pause. They finally took a pause. I think it was 10-0, and they won out from that point. It made it 10-5.
Yeah, I think this is the time to talk about it for sure.
I mean, they need to.
Here's one thing that's happening is they're using their nades so early at B. Normally you want to hold on to a smoke or incendiary or something to when enemy is forced into that last, the 20 or 30 second execute. You can actually make it disadvantageous for them, make them take damage through a fire or make them have to run through a smoke where you're waiting on the other side. But they use their smoke so early just to contest car, only to fall back anyway with 45 seconds left on the clock and no nades left. So I think that certainly hurt. That's why you see a lot of teams cycle nades from Arch, but they weren't doing that. Now ShahZaM will get aggressive though, and man, it's going to pay off. He gets that headshot on the main line, able to fall back, takes a decent amount of damage, but still, that's a 5-on-4 instantly for Conquest for the first time all game. And he's not going to get too greedy. He's just going to go play back over at Arch with that.
Now, the interesting thing is that Enemy does still put an op in play on their T side. A lot of teams will tell you that T side opping on Inferno is traditionally unconventional and awkward. It's not a gun that's necessarily catering to the map's strengths and weaknesses. It's not like, you know, Dust 2, where like the op is like one of the biggest parts of your team's attack. Whereas on Inferno, it's like kind of, we don't really need it. On the CT side, it's nice, but on the T side, it's a little bit difficult. And koosta just sticking with it because it's what he feels comfortable with, and he's a great opper. But we'll see how that plays out through the entirety of this half.
Yeah, when your opper's your impact player, like a Kenny S, like you know, like for instance, that's one opper that uses it a lot on T side for him because he is like such an impact player on his team. Skadoodle for Cloud9. You know, these are guys that when your opper's kind of your key player, you put it on him on the T side Inferno no matter what, even if it's not the best practice, I guess you could say, for the mechanics of the game, but what have you. We'll see what it can do. It's ShahZaM and daps though finding a couple of kills really quick. So Enemy now just stuck with 2 members left. They just found themselves picked apart this round. A little bit of deja vu from Mirage. And this round will likely be Conquest now. There's only 10 seconds left. No time to plant.
Oh, ShahZaM. 2-for-1 special. The blue light coming over on Arch side mid. I mean, yeah, you know, you're not going to put your impact player who's an opper like a koosta or like a Kenny S. You're not going to be like, well, buddy, listen, I know you're really good with the op, but we want you to use the AK this half. You realize, like, that's going to kind of cripple the player's ability because they're not as adept with that. They're not as good with the AK as they are. And, you know, they're still a good player, and even when they have a rifle, they can handle themselves. But they aren't going to have the same amount of impact as they would with the op. So it's kind of like the process that plays out. Some teams will do it because they realize that their player can kind of hold both positions well, rifle and scoped rifle like an op. But in this instance, I'd say ShahZaM and koosta are both going to have the op on the T side because they're definitely stronger with that gun than they would be with a rifle. Maybe.
I actually you will see ShahZaM a lot with the AK actually on T side for this team, so be on the lookout for that. They actually kind of use him as an entry fragger on this map with an AK just because they want to have their later round players to come in. That's one of the few maps you see that happen actually with ShahZaM, but we'll see if that actually holds true in this game. We are going to see Rush be able to get the kill on the main line at mid. Time is starting to tick down, but still a good amount left. Seems like Enemy wants to go for a late round B hit. daps does still have an incendiary for when execute actually rolls in. Stanislaw also has it. They're going to throw him now right at the perfect time whereas Enemy was executed. So they're taking this damage, they're getting held up, and they're paying for it. daps and Stanislaw already with a couple of kills. Now we're 2-on-5.
daps trying to get the kill through the smoke. Finally takes down koosta. Pistol's going to come out, and it's going to be enough. Anomaly takes down the man behind, but not the one right in front of him. daps gets the kill. It's 2 rounds in the kitty for Conquest, and Enemy still has enough money to buy. I don't think they're going to be able to get an op, so this will be the first time we've seen them even come close to a 5 rifle setup. And okay, so they do have enough to go for the 5 rifle. I wasn't sure if they were going to have enough based on the way the money was stacking up. So this will be like the first time we've seen an op-less round in buy rounds from Enemy, as I think koosta's had it at every buy round. He's had the op outside of those anti-ecos. He had the MAC-10. And we'll see how he kind of puts himself in play here. He's still going to go for some aggression in mid, but he's going to be walking into a crossfire if he's not careful.
Yeah, and again, I think Conquest is doing better contesting B now. Like they're getting out the car like they are now and denying control. But on top of that, they're saving some nades. Like Stanislaw still has an incendiary and smoke later on when they fall back and decide to hold off the execute. And that's been a big difference. And some of those early B hits, they didn't have the nades to hold off the hit. Now they do. And that's helped out a lot. And Enemy, though, they're going to try their luck at mid this time. They do get to pick onto hazed at porch right away. So they have a quick 5-on-4 here with still about a minute left on the clock and a lot of time to make decisions.
There's still 1 in the A site. That's going to be Rush, but down goes ShahZaM over towards Arch side. MAiNLiNE's going to flash his way through. Rush still in the site, trying to do what he can. He can't spot out MAiNLiNE. MAiNLiNE with the perfect smoke. More smoke's raining out to keep MAiNLiNE alive and pit. But the T sign goes for the execution into the site, and they're going to get dropped by koosta, who's coming in with his AK. And like we had said, like, the opper's maybe not necessarily their favorite gun to use, a rifle, but koosta shows that he's definitely capable of handling himself. And they do pick up the round, so 7 now for Enemy.
He got all the big entries for them. I mean, he got the pick on the hazed at porch. He rolls up. He catches ShahZaM over at Moto with the op. I mean, he got every key kill that Enemy needed to take the day bomb side. So that was a big round for koosta. And yeah, it came the one round where he didn't actually have an op. That's how he starts moving up until almost a top fragger position now. But still a full buy coming in for Conquest. Looks like ShahZaM wants to challenge early at mid, but he's getting flashed, so he can't really take the peek and is forced to just kind of play it passive here at the archway. Meanwhile, again, Conquest doing good at denying enemy quick control of car and sandbags, putting that smoke down midway through the banana. Stanislaw keeping his eye on the corner here, just making sure that no one's going to be able to creep up for free. And it's just enemy working that same default every single round, just trying to get control of what they can early.
Decent pop flash from Conquest to try and get some information on banana. Stanislaw goes for the peak, but the T-side players both duck behind the arches. So they're going to survive for more time in this round. We're in round 10 here, and enemy has already hit 7, which is a very impressive T-side performance. Even if they basically just shut their PCs down now and let the half play out naturally, they would still have a really good half score, and I don't think that this is it. They're not going to stop here. They're going to continue putting rounds on the board. You know, Conquest has shown some flashes, but it seems like enemy just controlling the pace. And not only that, just their executes work out wonderfully, and they keep getting the trades.
Ooh.
Those trades, though, not going their way as hazed and rush drop Anomaly and MAiNLiNE. And now these 3 players coming in towards banana are going to have a tough job. And Stanislaw up close takes out the first one. daps peeking, and there you go. That's 2 for him, just on the cusp of the smoke. Conquest picking up their 3rd round. But they really need to speed up here.
Yeah, I mean, so there again, Conquest just using their nades better. You saw right when they went for that late B execute with 30 seconds left, they had an incendiary and a smoke still to hold that off. That was big. The other thing is, if you're enemy and you're going to go for a late B hit like that, why even commit at the fighting porch? Just make sure you get those players out through alt mid and make sure you gather up all 5 for the late B hit. Don't just cough up your numbers and give the team a 5-on-3 like that. That was just, I think, kind of an unneeded duel to take, and it cost them a lot whenever they're getting a late round 3v5 as a result, and that really hurt them. And now they're just going to be on Tech 9s this round. Tried to go for a B hit, kind of got deterred from doing so after the nade pressure came in from Conquest. Now they're just kind of falling back into kind of a default setup. Just once again trying to get slow control of the map. But it seems like they want to take it A.
And the CT side's playing this perfectly, just very passive, allowing the T side to get positions they want them to have, so that when they go for the execute, they're not really going to have any options. They're going to have to walk right into the sights of ShahZaM. They're going to have to walk right in towards Rush. They have one more back towards Graveyard. That's hazed. I mean, it's going to be a very difficult execute if they decide to go A or B. It doesn't really matter. And they've already used up most of their grenades. They only have 1 left to smoke on Uber. And it looks like they could be backpedaling towards B as the bomb is stacking up in that direction. So they're going to use that smoke to cross towards CT, I'd imagine. And they're just trying to flood the site. And daps over towards Spindles and one more towards First Orange. Pop flash around the corner. Takes Stanislaw way too long to take out the first player. Now daps is unable to find the headshot through the crack. He's got to retreat with koosta coming around the corner. It doesn't matter. Anomaly is actually going to strike him down. And now the site is in control here of the CT side. ShahZaM drops to MAiNLiNE's Tech 9. And it's now a 4v2. And, you know, hazed is just getting into a position. He's making the call. You can see he stutter-stepped for a second, wondering, do we go for this? Yeah, this is a textbook save, in my opinion. You've lost way too many players. Even if you can afford to lose the round, economically speaking, you don't want to give up any more than you already have.
Just a good execute there from enemy, you know, kind of waiting out to the last part of the round. They didn't actually have to deal with any smokes or anything when they hit banana. They just put their smoke on the spawn. There's no nades from Conquest, so they're just able to get in for free in that regard. But also, I mean, daps just kind of fumbled the ball there a little bit, man. Like, he was playing spools. He missed a bunch of initial shots and actually fell back because of that. Left Stanislaw out to dry, and then he tried to re-peek later and just died. You know, didn't get any damage in. And he's played well throughout this entire half, like holding some of these B hits. He's actually the top fragger with 9 kills, so it's not that he's playing bad in general, but that was just a bit of a rough round there from daps. Just kind of allowed enemy a little bit of an easier access to the B site, and now they have 8 on the board. I mean, that is more than enough at this point. If they can find a couple more, then it'll almost be an inverse of what we saw on Mirage, like a really dominant victory from enemy, probably right on the horizon.
Yeah, if they win this round, too, it's a keystone round for them because it breaks the money of Conquest. Kind of on the cusp of double eco, especially with the way that the map's playing out. They're not going to double eco, though. They're obviously going to force. They can't afford to give up any more rounds. But if they win this, it's 9-3, and they'll be facing off against an eco force buy, whatever you want to call it, and potentially able to make it 10-3. This has certainly snowballed, but this is a massive round for both teams as Conquest needs to stop the bleeding, and it's not going to start off wonderfully as they lose the first player and the second goes down as well. ShahZaM trying to get in there in time for the quick rotate, and he's already too late. The bomb is going to go down. He's all by himself, too. He needs to be careful. He can't do this Rambo style. He has to wait for his team. With the smokes landing, it's pretty much preventing him from doing it Rambo, and Down goes one. He's going to try and flash through. I think that was actually a CT side flash coming in from CT spawn. And Rush has already made the call. He said, I'm not going for this. There's no way we're taking it. We need these rifles for one more round. So they'll have 2 rifles on the board if they can survive with them. But Enemy pick it up. 9 rounds.
Yeah, the Enemy is, of course, going to chase. They have plenty of money to chase. They don't want to allow Conquest. They know they can get these 2 rifles down. Conquest would actually kind of be forced into like a double save scenario. And that could be, you know, Enemy going up to 11 after that. Just no economy. They don't get the kills, though. So the 2 rifles will be saved, and everyone else going to get upgraded pistol. They can try to make a play out of this. But Enemy, just night and day between Mirage and this map. We know that they've been a pretty good Inferno team, especially on T side. It's been one of their better maps, so they had that going for them even before the game started. But they just traded so much better in this game. Like the way they're taking the fights and how they're setting up their duels, they're so much more efficient. And that's really helping them out in a big way in this game.
This is kind of impressive what Enemy has been able to do on their T side. Bouncing back from what was a pretty disappointing defeat on the first map. You have to take that into account because it's obviously going to play into the player's mind a little bit. Aggressive on the smoke is daps. He takes down Uber up close and personal with the CZ75 auto. So they're going to get a little bit of an advantage, and he didn't make it out with the rifle, so he has to backpedal before he can pick it up due to the fact that 2 other players were in that position. Koosta and Relyks. Koosta with the AWP, shotgun style, close range on daps. Hazed, meanwhile, takes down the mid lurk player, but this should be a pretty easy execute towards B if they decide to take it, but knowing that the CT side is probably rotating out, they decide to head back down towards the A bomb site. And there's still 2 players there. Hazed is one of them with the 5-7 armor, and he tries to pop flash his way through, and it's just a little bit too early. I mean, a second later, and he actually blinds both of those players, and now it's a 3v1 on the A site, but time is ticking away here. So with ShahZaM coming in on the rotate, this could get shut down by Conquest.
Easily could. Stan's also in a good position here on top of the balcony with the 5-7, so he has a great chance to get a kill on one of these first guys running through before they get detected, and he will get one. They do get the side, however, in the end. Good trading there. That's going to leave Rush all alone in a 1 versus 2, and he's all the way still at Banana, so he doesn't really have any way to try to take this retake, but it's gotten to a point now where you kind of have to try, I feel like you're already about to go down 10-3 from your CT side Inferno. Yeah, money's a big problem, but it's going to be a problem no matter whether you take this AK or not. It looks like he is just going to look for exits and try to at least have 1 rifle carried over to the next round. But again, Enemy going to be dealing with a pretty low bot Conquest next round, so a great chance for 11 before this is all said and done. That's just best case scenario for Conquest. It could even get worse than that. It could be 12-3.
Yeah, and then it comes down to a pistol round from Enemy to close the map out. That was actually the 3rd round in a row that Rush has saved that AK. That specific one. He's survived 3 rounds in a row on saves because they know that like their money is so broken they can't really do anything about it, and that's been the keystone to the T side from Enemy is never really allowing Conquest to get a foothold, economically speaking. Only 1 time were they able to lose a round and buy up full. And even still, it wasn't the greatest. They were a little bit lighter on grenades than they probably would have liked to been. I think they had 1 FAMAS in play. So it's been economic control and then just, you know, taking duels. Yeah. It's the exact opposite of what we saw from them last map. It's basically, we flipped the map. So last map, it was Conquest winning all the duels on their T side and just shutting down Enemy, and now it's gone the other way.
I can see a nice pop flash come in. Daps will be able to chase it down and grab a kill at that CZ and get the info that they're gathered up at B and back off. So this is going to allow ShahZaM to start to rotate, but anticipating this, Enemy does begin to second guess whether they want to do this B hit or not. They've actually sent the bomb back towards mid on MAiNLiNE. They're still kind of figuring out what they want to do here. You see koosta setting up that smoke on the CT spawn. Looks like they are still going to try to hit the speed bomb side, but ShahZaM's already actually re-rotated back to A, so they're going to get a 4-on-2 here.
And daps goes down, so does Stanislaw very quickly, too. Both players, and that was just, I mean, lightning speed. Both players dead. They had no chance to react. Great flashes and grenade play here from Enemy yet again. ShahZaM rotating in from construction. He's trying to get into the site. He's going to jump up onto Spindles. There's a bit of an edge on that smoke that he can spot through, but it doesn't matter. With koosta over towards Banana, it's just the op raining bullets down on towards Spindles. The last player is going to be hazed. He's got a 5-7, somehow still alive, 1 HP. Can't do it. 3-11. Not a bad band, but a pretty bad score.
I mean, I just feel like the last few rounds, daps and ShahZaM just getting bullied in the B bomb site. You know, there's been like over the last, I would say, I guess 4 or 5 rounds, we've seen enemy like get in perfect on B. You know, Stanislaw and daps not able to get a single kill, and so they just get like a free B bomb site and a 5v3 post plant situation on several different occasions. That's happened, and that's big. You know, if you're Conquest, you've got to at least trade even over there and give yourself a chance to get people to rotate and retake, but it just hasn't been the case. It's been so dominant from enemy, but CLG's hazed trying to do his job as a stand-in and get something for his team. He gets the rest in the apartments and finds one pick with the Mag 7. So that's finally Conquest. It seems like it's been a while I've seen them have an early 5-on-4 like this.
And there it goes. It just slips away just like that. They're not even able to get the rifle. Great play from MAiNLiNE, kind of sniffing out what was happening in the Tech 9 up the. It's basically a Mag 7 at that range. I mean, the amount of damage it does when it comes to just, you know, a headshot, obviously it doesn't make a difference. Uber over towards Banana and still lagging like a fiend in my GoTV. Not really sure what that's about, but it's actually Relyks dropping in apartments. Rush with a decently timed execution of the aggressive push down the hallway. It's going to push things into a 3v4 right now, but even if enemy loses this, they've already had a stellar half. They really can't be angry if they lose this round. I mean, they'd be upset because it was a force buy and they shouldn't have lost it, but I mean, look at what they've done so far. This is a massive victory to come into this map and dominate the way that they have after the last round's performance or last map's performance. It's going to make up for it, at least mentally speaking. But they lose the bomb over towards mid, and Rush peeking away. He's actually going to get the second kill before we can get into his point of view, and it's all on MAiNLiNE here with the Tech 9. And somehow they leave the bomb, and MAiNLiNE's actually going to get the plant. And a potential opportunity. Can he get off the plant in time? No, he can't. They heard him go for the bomb, so Conquest end up taking it. You can see he's just taking a nap over towards the bomb site right now. But yeah, 11-4. Quite a performance from enemy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, they just were trading so much better this map compared to Mirage. There are even some instances, like I said, where they got into B, not losing a single player, just bullying that side of the map. So just all in all, a good T side from enemy, which again, like, despite what you may think about this team as a whole, like, I mean, I know that they're like online records, like in ESCA and such in the pro level haven't really been that good. But just the way that they play this map in particular, they do a great job on it. I think they're actually one of the better Inferno teams in NA, especially on T side. There are very few teams that can put up type of numbers on T side I've seen enemy do on a pretty consistent basis, to be honest. Like, I feel like I see them almost always getting like 6 or so rounds on T side Inferno. So they certainly seem to have that down to a science. If they could just expand that to the rest of their map pool, they'd actually be in really good shape. So yeah, good half there from enemy. And now Conquest, you know, unless they can come up with something pretty massive here, looks like we will be seeing that third map overpass.
And that will be an interesting one to see because we talked about it. Conquest very good on overpass. But what's funny is when I talked to ShahZaM about that a couple months ago, I think I watched them beat CLG on the map, and I said, "What was your strategy, ShahZaM?" And he goes, "Oh, we just went B really fast." That was like back when the map was in its infancy. So we'll see if they've kind of fine-tuned things a little bit better. I'd hope that they have. Pretty good execution towards the A site right now. It's just raw speed working here for Conquest. And finally a kill comes out for the CT side as Anomaly takes out ShahZaM in Boiler Room. But going to be a difficult retake, especially considering that enemy does not have a kit. Nice nade into pit. Drops right under Stanislaw's feet. He drops him down to 49 HP. Hazed hits the one tap. Going to get another as well. And it's all on Uber. Looking for some damage. He actually gets the kill onto Hazed, but 3 players left up for Conquest, and they crossfire it perfectly. And a good pistol round to start things off here in the second half.
Yeah, just Conquest just doing a really quick A hit there, and it worked out. Great entries there from Hazed and ShahZaM. Just open up that site, just winning some really key duels, and now Conquest have a bit of a shot here. I mean, if they can make sure they don't fall prey to some type of force buy from enemy, and get it up to 7 rounds, there's definitely still some chance for a comeback here for Conquest to try to end the series in 2. Because although enemy's T side Inferno has been quite good, I have seen them at times struggle to close out games in their CT. So there is that other storyline out there that Conquest might be able to take advantage of. We'll just have to see.
They're going to put Hazed all the way up on Banana with the scout, and he's doing what is probably one of the most annoying things you can do in this game, and that's the jump scout. He's just jumping up over that smoke, peeking towards spindles, but no one's playing in that position this round. Relyks sitting at CT and Uber just next to first orange. And Uber's actually going to have to hightail it out of that spot as Molly rains down right under his feet. Relyks is going to get into dark spot. This is actually a decent crossfire setup here for the CT side. Relyks is just hiding, waiting. Finally peeks, takes down one, looking for more, but not able to get it. MAiNLiNE just on top of the smoke, almost takes out the bomb planter, and ShahZaM very low on HP as ShahZaM. ShahZaM does go down, but it's all on koosta. 1v3, a USP in hand. 35 seconds left. He might be able to catch the bomb planter out and do some more economic damage. He does peek and times it right. It was actually a fake from hazed, but Rush with the good cover. And they pick up another round here, but a little bit of money damage done. Kind of the standard for what you see.
Yeah, I mean, they got off okay. Like, they only lost 2 players, so it's not that big of a deal. I mean, yeah, they have to rebuy a bit, but it's not a devastating amount of damage.
No, not at all.
An enemy will go ahead and pistol back up. They're actually going to get a bunch of nades. It seemed like they want a nade stack mid and just try to push it and see if they can't get some kills. If you see the nades come out, they didn't really do that much damage. The banana push is coming in here from enemy with MAiNLiNE and Relyks, but it's being held back quite well so far. And it seems like Conquest will get out of this with that 3-0 start and make it 7-11. And again, I want to point this out. This is actually a pretty consistent storyline in enemies' careers, is that they will get good T-sides on this map, like 6+ rounds, but I have seen them throw down some really sloppy CT sides of like really low single digits. Like I've seen games where they'll get like 8 or 9 rounds on the T side, but then they'll get 0 on CT or like 3 rounds on CT and they can't close. So that is something to be a bit concerned with your enemy. You need to go ahead and get some rounds early here and now so you don't fall prey to that pattern, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's something I refer to as like the cruise control factor. Like you put yourself at such a lead early on that in the second half you're like, we're cool, we got this. We took 11 rounds on our T side, and then things just like kind of spiral out of control just like that. hazed taking down Uber and Relyks on the aggressive B. Koosta has to try and save the day with the op, and he does take down hazed, but there's still more players in that position, and it's made it a 4v3. But yeah, I mean, if enemy loses like 2 more rounds, it's actually a close game. 11-4 quickly could become a 9-11 score, 11-9 score, and then, you know, 2 rounds away from tying it up, and you know they could do exactly what enemy did to them,
and remember,
which is cripple money.
Remember, Conquest is a capable Inferno team. Like, their online results of Inferno have been amazing since they put this 5 together. And they've only lost it to really big teams like Virtus.pro and such offline. They've had some good offline performances as well on this map. So they're no slouch on Inferno. And if enemy commits mistakes that they did right there at B, losing like a big duel like that, they can definitely take it to them. But great from MAiNLiNE inside the site. I think he just saved the day for this round for his team with that effort right there.
Yeah, that nade was textbook, too. I mean, it went right under their feet. Anomaly in pit. He's going to get the backup from MAiNLiNE, and enemy pick up the round, and the money on the T side is still good enough to buy, so they're going to be throwing another one out. And I'm kind of curious if ShahZaM's going to go with the AK or if he's going to go with that AWP. He still hasn't decided on the buy just yet. He does have 6,200, so it's enough to buy the op, but he decides to buy the AK, so kind of a little surprised, but not at the same time. And the reason I kind of expected to see both players rock the op a majority of the T side is because they knew the op would be on the opposite end. So it's kind of like, I know koosta's going to op. I want to try and op back so I can kill him and open up rounds. You realize that like a good op isn't going to just allow you to get free kills. So I have a feeling that that had some kind of effect on both of these players' decisions. And I don't know if you just saw that. Did you see that smoke that koosta just threw?
I did not.
He just threw a jump smoke all the way from like Moto towards library for top banana. I don't think I've seen that one before.
Definitely effective because it allows your 2 B players to keep all their nades for the late like 30-second B execute. It's really important actually because you don't need the smokes as much at A. Yeah, they can be helpful to like hold people off at mid or apartments, but like in reality, they're pretty open space battles you're going to take. Whereas if you can hold those latent smokes at B, you just force such a tight choke. But they're throwing a nice fake here. Like hazed has held 3 people in position at B this entire time. This is going to allow a big A hit to roll, and hazed has already found a kill here as well, pushing through. Like, how did he even get where he is?
Oh, the timing working out nicely here. daps is actually going to get the flying squirrel kill, dropping in off the balcony and I forget what the name is, those characters from Super Mario. Can't think of it, but just stomps him on top of the head, and it's down to Relyks and koosta. Koosta in CT spawn right now with the op. He's got to put his head on a swivel as he's realizing there's likely one near him, and in fact there is. It was hazed. Just
he actually had no clue.
It looked
He
like
thought
he
there
had
was
an
one
idea.
flanking banana,
Yeah.
but Hayes already made it in the spawn. Like, he actually crept through a smoke. I think someone pushed past him
Oh
in the
my
smoke
gosh.
at B.
I don't want to interrupt you here, but Relyks is in the site. He's got a kit.
Oh,
They've
no
abandoned the
way.
site.
No,
No!
way. What?
If he had gotten the bomb sooner, that was a freebie. I thought that enemy
that
was
was
taking that.
almost
I didn't
it.
want to interrupt you, but it was like,
No,
I just
that was
see
fair.
him jump off, and I was like, oh my goodness. He
There
actually
was
has time. All he
definitely
had to do
a
was find the
chance.
bomb.
Nah, but Hayes actually made a really cool play there. Someone pushed by him inside the smoke at B, and then he flanked the guy CT spawn. And then the other guy was like trying to rush banana to mid that way, you know? So he just got in between two CTs and like made a really big play in spawn and got a couple of key frags to help hold off the rotate and kind of secure the round for Conquest. And now, look at that. Enemy's money has been reset. They're pretty much forced in the double save territory. And that means that Conquest can start working towards that tie again. So this is actually really, really bad news for Enemy.
Yeah, everyone, you know, I'm watching the chat. I had to watch the chat after that one. And everyone's saying, why did he pull off? He didn't have time. He pulled off because there was no way he was going to get the defuse. Players like this don't just assume. They know. He knows he doesn't have enough time, so he has to back off the bomb. He wanted to try and save his rifle. He needed to find the bomb basically immediately upon getting into the site. And that's the
Yeah, he
reason
was
why
about a
Conquest-
second off.
Yeah, that's the reason why Conquest had pulled out, because they realized that it would be pretty much impossible for him to get to this where it is. Speaking of impossible, winning this one is going to be impossible. It's Anomaly all by himself. He's got a USP in the A site, and bomb planted over towards B. He's just going to try and do some money damage here, but with ShahZaM and CT spawn, it's going to be pretty much impossible unless he can catch ShahZaM look in the wrong direction, and highly unlikely considering he knows his team is in B. So it's a 5-up round here, almost the team ace, as Rush was the only one not picking up a frag. But Conquest, I mean, they're doing exactly what Enemy did, just looking really good on their T side.
I like how people are saying we're silver and we don't know what we're talking about. He would have gotten it. He would not have. Go back and watch that replay and count it for yourself. I don't think he would have gotten the defuse. And even if he did, it would have been really close. And I think at that point, you know, if your team's communicating to you, hey, you don't got it, and you hear someone pushing him from Moto, just go ahead and try to get the kill and save your gun. If you can't for sure get the defuse, that's just a better play, and that's just kind of what happened. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. We're going to keep pushing through this game. We talked about how Enemy's money got reset, so they're in kind of the second half of their double save. That's giving Conquest a lot of advantage to play with, as they will get the spawn plant in the A site, and they have a 4-on-4 post plant. They're all positioned up. A big mid push coming in, but Russia sniffed it out and is dealing with it rather well.
Relyks finding the AK, trying to salvage it and put it to good use. And now realizing, oh, well, my use is pretty much gone. He's going to backpedal with that AK and try and save it for another round. Anomaly hears them towards close side truck and, oh, just can't quite time it perfectly. And now Uber in library, maybe hoping to get himself into the site and find a rifle. He might be able to do so if he times it right, but it's going to be a really, really close play because of the timer in between rounds in this format. And it's not going to happen anyway. He's back. He just heads towards CT spawn. Relyks sitting behind the chicken hoop, hoping for some eggs. And it's now 10-12. So quickly, the score changed. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we thought Enemy was probably going to close this one out.
Yeah, again, like I said, it seems to be kind of a pattern Enemy's play on this map is they'll get good T sides but struggle to close on their CT side. And so what looked like would be a landslide victory has now gotten quite dangerous, as we've seen Conquest win 6 to 7 rounds on this half. And now we're going to see Conquest really fast up mid. Koosta, he's got his op at Moto. He gets the first kill. MAiNLiNE also coming in, so now they're putting up a defense. Now they are finally fighting back, it looks like.
Koosta with his off, he's in sight, kind of in an awkward spot, but his teammates helping out here, making it a little bit easier, and a great shot onto daps as he tries to push through the smoke from Moto. Enemy finally get one after losing 3 in a row. And that's exactly what the doctor ordered. The T-side money was stacking up quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big round. That's just Conquest trying to change the pace, doing something really, really fast, but Enemy caught on to it. Like, you know, Koosta held his ground at Moto with the op. He got a couple of kills. You saw the double pit setup come into play from Enemy, able to hold off in the attack at lane as well. So just good defense there from Enemy, you know, not letting the speed of Conquest hit affect them at all. Just, you know, playing really, really well and getting kills. But now we see ShahZaM catching Koosta, trying to look for an aggressive peek there at Arch. Anomaly is able to trade it, though, at the lane. So it's back even at 4-on-4. But this favors Conquest all day long. Anytime you can get an early exchange like that as a terrorist, you split the defense up, and you give yourself a chance to possibly even find some type of like 4-on-1 hit, depending on where the rotate's at. So this is really good news for Conquest to get that trade.
Not only that, you change the way that the CT side holds because you've taken nades out of their hands. So if that player died with, like, you know, smokes, flashes, and mollies, it not only was it expensive, but now the CT side is that much weaker in just keeping you at bay, which is the name of the game on Inferno. It's time control, it's clock management. So if that's the case, you need to then on the fly make a decision. Okay, we have a smoke moto side. I need that guy to throw it over for B because there's only one player here. Or if the pick goes A, you know, you kind of have to make the decision on the fly. They actually are going to go for the B execute here. And you can see the CT is kind of holding up in the back of sight right now as they push their way in. hazed looking for the kill on the man in dark spots, spraying away, but can't quite get it. Relyks takes down the first from Nubox. Daps and Rush drop. And it's hazed and Daps versus Anomaly and MAiNLiNE. Both players coming from CT, 9 seconds left on the clock. They're going to have to stick the bomb, and the first one goes down. Anomaly doesn't peek wide enough to spot the bomb, and oh no, hazed could have lined them up. So close. But Enemy ends up escaping around by the skin of their teeth, and it's going to make it 14-10. The money on the T side, still good enough to buy, so Enemy not necessarily worrying about ecos yet. It's still going to be a buy round coming out for Conquest.
Yeah, I mean, they do have to worry a little bit about their money being reset because they did just, like, went around after losing, like, a lot. But they do have a good bit of bank still stashed up. Even after the rebuys, they have a couple of guys, like, near 4K or right at 4K. So it's not too crazy bad just yet. But if Conquest can win a few rounds in a row, they can start forcing saves. And that's whenever it can get, you know, bad, so to speak. But still, Enemy just a couple rounds away from the victory. They just need to hold out a little bit longer. They're trying to do that 3-man aggression at Banana again, and Uber playing that so well, being able to, like, help koosta recover and get out of there. That's a great kill there for Enemy on that initial pressure at B. And now they can just fall back off of that, get into more default positions, and have, like, a big man advantage right here in a key round to get map point.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the money, the buy that comes out next round for Conquest is going to be a little bit awkward unless they get a bomb plant. That'll help boost things a little bit. But right now, the way things stand, it's not going to be so pretty. So they're going to go for this A push here. And they're all stacked up in mid, but Daps gets the execution from Apartments. Relyks is going to push through the smoke, takes out one, should have been able to find more somehow, does not do so. Uber now coming in from Moto. He blinds Rush and gets to the back of sight just in time to avoid ShahZaM. ShahZaM on very low HP, 4 points of health. He's got his favorite gun, the AWP. He's going to get the first flick. Does he get the second? No. Uber playing that perfectly, jumping up on the box. 15-10. Map point now for Enemy.
Yeah, so, I mean, they've come full circle here. They had a rough first map. Now they have 5 opportunities to close out this second map in regulation and move on to that third map where all will be even, so to speak. Conquest is going to be a bit light here. I mean, they got one guy just a Deagle, one guy just a Tech 9. Their utility is a little bit limited as well, so this is a great, you know, chance for Enemy as koosta will take that op aggressively, and he will find himself the kill on the haze. So again, another initial 5-on-4 start from Enemy, where they're also able to fall back and just reset and not allow Conquest any ability to trade back into the round. So this is really big news for Enemy.
Yeah, they're going to go for that smoke, but it's a little deep, and the T side has already made it on the other side. They're going to pop flash, but it doesn't actually go deep enough, so Daps takes out Uber. It's kind of a freebie. koosta drops a molly and backpedals in towards Nubox. He's going to pick off the first one. He's still got the AWP. He's hold up. Rush taking a lot of damage from the molly, but a great shot from Rush. Drops the AWP in the back of sight, but so much damage dealt to these T side players. 23 on Rush, 16 on Stanislaw, and 35 on ShahZaM. A nade could take down each one. ShahZaM heading over towards Banana to hold. Anomaly spots the arm, but the flash is just perfectly timed. Down goes Relyks. It's all on MAiNLiNE here. He's going to get that first kill. Rush in the back of sight has no reason to peek. Stanislaw sitting towards second orange. Finally spots the arm, and he's going to take him out. He knows this last player is in that position. Oh, he just can't quite get the angle. Assumed he's ducked back in the corner. So it's not over yet. Enemy now in an eco.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that they had just won 3 rounds in a row and they had a decent amount of bank, but some of the rounds were quite close, forcing some rebuy. So yeah, they're immediately forced into a save, and so Conquest have a chance to at least put up 12 here. It's a very weak CT side right now, so well done that B hit there. Even though they lost a man early and got put into a quick 4-on-5, they played themselves out of it and secured the round. And now Enemy, they're just stacking this A-bomb site, you know, looking like they might even just try to push mid straight up right now and just try to gamble and hope for the best. But that's that boiler to grab a kill and get the info.
And he gets a kill, Drops immediately. ShahZaM is there with the refrag taking out MAiNLiNE. Bomb going to be picked up, and I think now they've kind of realized this is a stack. Let's just head towards the B site, and it is going to be free. They smoked their way across, and koosta's the only one there. He's just firing through the smoke with the USP, taking more damage than he's dishing out. Only one player not in the B site. That's Rush. He's back on Banana watching the flank. Anomaly coming in with a P250. Unlikely that he's going to spot him, and yeah, down he goes. Last two players, Uber and koosta, both working in from CT. Looked like they wanted to go for a boost. If you could see the way koosta was positioning himself, he was calling for a boost up over that smoke. But when the spray came through, he realized it was too risky. Uber, all by himself, wants to at least take one more rifle with him.
And so Conquest are going to make it 12, so they're 3 away from putting this thing into overtime. And 2-round loss bonus coming in for Enemy next round. They actually can't really afford anything this next round either. So, I mean, it's a good chance for Conquest to actually go up to 13. They have this one, P250 saved by Uber. Other than that, they don't have much to work with. They can go for some type of upgrade pistol buy here because they'll have enough money next round to get in a full purchase. So they can do a little bit of spending here, and you will see a couple of nades come out and a few 250s in play. But at the same time, Conquest has a great chance to push this into just within a couple of rounds of forcing an overtime. So Enemy not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination.
No, they're not. They really wanted to win that round and just close it out. They're going to lose a very, very early opening kill. That's Relyks dropping, as Relyks didn't spot hazed, who boosted up on top of Timber, just peeking up over top of the smoke, and they assume immediately that when they see the pistols B, it's going to be an eco stack. Anomaly gets the running P250 kill on daps. MAiNLiNE's actually going to pick one off as well. Over coming in from Moto, we've got two players, Uber and koosta, both on pistols, not able to do anything. Uber's just going to spam away through that smoke and try and keep these players on the site. He realizes that if they've taken any significant amount of damage, hiding in the back of sight is not going to be an option, but it's unlikely that Uber escapes the situation easily.
But MAiNLiNE did save an AK, so
yeah. I mean,
good.
It's a win of an eco round, especially if they get one more kill here, and almost taps away at ShahZaM there, but if MAiNLiNE can hold the AK, yeah, I'd say this is a win, at least as an eco round is concerned.
Yeah, exactly. You bring one free gun over to the next rounds around, you probably didn't have any business winning anyway. Sure, they got a couple of frags, but it was pretty much still Conquest through and through. But now an AK is able to get rolled over into this 29th round, and everyone else can make a purchase. There's enough money to get koosta and off as well, and they should be able to have their full utility, to work with any type of push. And they've actually been really good at some of these 3-man initial pushes at Banana with koosta's op and a couple of rifles to get an early pick and kind of force Conquest to be at a disadvantage right away. But this time they're not doing that. They're just going to go standard 2-on-2. They've already had the forfeit Banana control, and the speed of Conquest is trying to rush up Banana, but Uber and company holding it off well so far. They already have a kill.
Good pop flash coming out from Uber here, but he's got to come up with a kill, and all 4 T-side players left, peeking him simultaneously. There was no way he was winning that one. And, it just came down to raw speed from Conquest, just saying, we're just going to try and out-frag you here. And it worked out great. In my opinion now, this is a save for Enemy. They can't afford to give these rifles up. They don't have the money. So these players need to try and get out of here. They need to either play for OT. I mean, they got to play for OT or, the 16-14 at this point, obviously. But
yeah,
they got to save these. They can't afford to just give these up because then they're just giving overtime to Conquest.
Yeah, pretty much. Their money is so low. Even with the 3-round loss bonus, $2,900 coming in, like only MAiNLiNE will really have that much cash.
koosta
is big, but yeah, koosta's coming up major with the op to hold on to it here, ensuring that he'll be able to carry it over. Not quite though. Anomaly will re-pick it up though, so at least they carry an op over, but money's still a little bit tight on the rest of the team outside of MAiNLiNE, so it's still kind of a crazy situation. But I mean, that's just Conquest. Now they're starting to bully themselves into the B-bomb site. They split up the defenses thanks to that CT spawn smoke. It cut off the 2 players. They weren't able to work together, and they basically get like 2 4-on-1 duels in B to get that bomb down. So they got to play a bit more together on this CT side, especially at Banana, because I mean they're giving up a really big lead right now. This could very likely go into overtime. You got a guy on just a 5-7 right now for Enemy, so this is not good news.
One of the things that I like from Conquest that we didn't really see from Enemy was more presence on the A-bomb site. It felt like Enemy put a lot in Banana, and they just continued to punish in that direction, whereas Conquest has had more executes towards A. And it's forced Enemy into a position where they can't really get away with like 3 stacking, which is kind of what Conquest started to do when they started taking rounds. The few rounds that they did stack or take rounds, they just kind of put more presence on B. Enemy hasn't really been able to do that. They've been left guessing because of the fact that Conquest doesn't stick to one site. It's not one-dimensional. And now they've actually rotated 4 players towards A. And the bomb is in mid, but it looks like it could be going B. And now Uber by himself in this B site. This looks like it's going to be a fake, and it could be perfect for Conquest to force it to OT.
It really could be. And also Stanislaw getting a kill on the main line that even further sells the pressure on this side, which, you know, keeps that rotate from happening. They know that koosta's here with the out. They know he's the rotate, but he can't get there. He's getting held off because he has to worry about this CT spawn push coming in. And so now they can just work on to Uber alone. He's hiding in the back corner trying to buy time, but he goes down quick, unable to allow his team to rotate. Now it's a 4-on-3 with the bomb down, and this is looking like we're going to see an overtime.
And Stanislaw takes out Relyks as he tries to get into construction. Hazed getting a kill, and there you go. You know, no team is ever out of it. An 11-4 in the first half, proving that Inferno is clearly a T-sided map. Obviously kidding. Obviously kidding. You know, this is not the first time I've seen this happen, where, you know, a CT-sided map is somehow magically T-sided. The series I did the other night for Philadelphia, it was a best of 5 as the grand finals, and the only map that had a CT-sided half was Dust 2. Out of 4 maps, and of those 4 maps, it was Mirage, Inferno, and Cache. Kind of surprising how it happened, but sometimes it plays out that way.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like, again, I've seen this happen time and time again to Enemy on this map, where they'll have a good terrorist side, but they don't have the CT side to back it up to close out the map. That's why there's so many losses that Enemy has had on Inferno where they still got, like I said, 6+ rounds on the T side, which is good, like, to get those types of numbers. But like, you think most teams are usually capable of at least putting 10 rounds on the board on the CT side, you know, if not more than that. With some of the, you know, the best teams in the world can, you know, easily put up 12 or so, right? So yeah, it's just I see constantly Enemy struggle to close out games on the CT side, and it's come back to bite them here. They had a great chance just to, you know, from their 11-4 lead, just to put this into a third map quickly, and they just kind of allowed Conquest to weasel themselves back into the game, and now we're all tied up 15-all. And I'm pretty sure that this is MR3 16K, so economy not really going to be a factor as far as, like, maybe getting forced to save the last round of the half. If you lose the first 2 rounds, you pretty much can buy every round. And it is, you know, MR3 like you're used to in that regard, so it's going to be first to 19. Otherwise, we will see a second overtime if it's an 18 split.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is that MR3 16K, when I first did one of these games, I thought, that's odd. Didn't expect to see MR3 16K, but I spoke to the people behind it, and they said, you know what, we asked the players, and they all said they want this. They all wanted to do an MR3 16K.
Well, I've been hearing teams don't like MR5 because it's too draining.
Yeah, it's too long.
I've heard that argument. But when it comes to MR3 10K versus 16K, I kind of prefer 10K because it makes sense. Because, like, CS is all about your economy being punished if you lose a few rounds in a row. And so that actually happens in MR3 10K, whereas MR3 16K, no matter what, you're pretty much full buying every round. So you never can get punished. So you're never forced into a save. But on the other hand, with it being OT and you're only getting to play 3 rounds a half, I guess it makes sense that all 3 rounds are full buys. So yeah, it just depends on your philosophy, I guess, on whether or not you think that in an overtime economy should be a factor. You know, that's just kind of up to you on your prerogative on that.
Yeah, you know, everyone has a different mentality about it, whether or not it's actually kind of an interesting little side piece about the competitive format as a whole, whether or not the 10K makes sense, because it feels like you've said these two teams are even as they can be. So because they're so even, we're going to make it so that if one team can win 2 rounds in a row, the third round is going to be really hard for the other team because they're going to be broke and they're going to have to use pistols. Whereas in reality, like, it should be about as even as you can make it. Give them no advantage at all. Just let the teams have pure rifle rounds, and that gives you the most organic result. I kind of understood where the 10K came from, but I think that this MR3 16K is actually kind of an interesting idea. Yeah. They might have to tweak it. They might say, okay, maybe 16K is a little bit too much. Maybe we'll make it like, you know, 13K or 12K, so you can't triple buy an op or something crazy like that. But I personally do think it's a good format compared to the MR5 16K and the MR3 10K.
Yeah, I think each has its pros and cons. For me, I just want there to be consistency across the board. I wish there was some type of universal rule set that we could come to an agreement on when it comes to like every tournament uses the same overtime rules, or every tournament, even like I think Ryu from Enemy brought this up. Even having a uniform amount of time after the round is over before the next round transitions, because that gives you extra seconds to pick up fallen guns or get, exit frags or chase after someone, right? Some games, some tournaments, there's only like 3 seconds after the round ends that you had the chase, whereas some other tournaments it's like 7 seconds. So even just having universal rules on those fronts, I think, is kind of the next step for CS going forward. But now into the overtime, we are seeing Enemy get super aggressive at B again. 3-man pushing it, but Enemy responding, or excuse me, Conquest responding by just hitting A quickly, getting into apartments already, just looking to bypass all that.
So again, they go with raw speed here, and we'll see if it works out for the MAiNLiNE. And Pit looking to be the first line of defense, and down he goes. In sight is Anomaly. He's only going to get one, and Conquest take the site with ease. And it's made it a 3v4. There's still going to be one close. It's going to be daps. He's in boiler room, spraying away, takes down the first one. Koosta up close with the op. It's not exactly the greatest gun for this situation. You can see easy work for daps there. Now Relyks all by himself. He's got the M4. Hazed just diving through the smoke like a madman. But now Relyks taking so much damage, he realizes there's no way he's going to get this. He's going to have to take off and head towards B, save the rifle. And I'm actually kind of surprised here, given that it is the 16K MR3, Relyks not buying head armor and not buying a kit.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what? They had a good pause, so they had a good amount of time to talk about it.
It is a little bit odd, but it didn't really matter so much in this round. What really mattered here is when you do a 3-man aggression B, literally the only thing that can ruin that is a quick A hit. Where the terrorists are able to spill into the A bombs like before you get that third guy rotated back to A. So there's only 2 covering a pretty big area against like a really heavy 5-man hit. And I think that Conquest noticed that Enemy was doing a lot of 3-man aggression B in regulation, so they just did a hard counter. They just rushed A as quickly as they could. It was a bit risky, but it was a calculated risk based on the tendencies they noticed. And it worked out well, but now we have some even trading going on, but now CLG picking up the better end of it. Now it's a 2-on-2. The defenses are split, and so it's going to be a 2-on-1 coming into this B-bomb site.
He's going to put a lot on Relyks. He's so close, but the flash just overwhelming. I think he wanted to try and duck into the smoke. Instead, he ends up in the corner. So now Koosta. Of all players, you would like it to be Koosta, but with the op, it's going to be quite a difficult retake. He does have one player on the op. That's going to be ShahZaM. Towards the back of sight in dark spot. That's Rush. And he gets that pick. ShahZaM now playing this perfectly to a T. All he has to do is buy time. Stuck behind Nubox. Koosta goes for the fake. ShahZaM holding true. Still just spamming bullets. Koosta looking for the quickscope. Not going to find it. The 2 oppers finally get their duel in the B site. And ShahZaM is going to opt to use the pistol instead of the big green gun. And that's now 2 rounds in a row for Conquest. And you had kind of touched about it a second ago. Like universal rules for Counter-Strike. I don't want to necessarily derail too much, but I kind of feel like that would be one of the biggest things moving forward. We'll talk about it at the half.
I mean, we may not have much time as Conquest are already off to a 2-0 start here in this first half of overtime. That round, a little bit of an aggression from Enemy, got him some kills, but Conquest is always able to trade even, which is going to favor the T-side every time. They get it into a late round 2-on-2, and they win it when it comes down to the 1v1. So it was just back and forth, but Conquest always one step ahead to secure the round. And now, with the 17-15, this is Enemy's last chance to try to put up a round on the CT side. Playing a little bit more standard, but Uber is kind of playing this smoke right now. And he might have a chance to get a kill and fall back. He does some damage, but he doesn't find the kill. But a nice incendiary comes in there from Relyks, and CLG are being stopped from trying to do some type of quick B hit. They have to kind of fall back and reconsider now.
I think it's the first round that we've seen Enemy boost somebody up in mid, as Anomaly is on the roof of porch side. It's actually MAiNLiNE, though, the player on the ground, not relying on the paratrooper Anomaly to come in off the roof. And they're going to be going for a B execution again here. So Relyks and Uber, the ones coming up with the heavy-duty job. And 4 players just spilling out of Banana, and they don't take a single fight yet. Relyks crossfiring this perfectly. He needs help from his teammate, but his teammate can't peek. He goes down. Relyks picks off 2, but Damage has been done. They're going to go for that bomb plant in the site. Great shooting from ShahZaM to take down the first one. Koosta responds with the kill onto Rush. And we may have an opportunity here for another op duel as it's Koosta and ShahZaM plus MAiNLiNE. Almost a similar situation. ShahZaM has to go for the plant. He's going to do it just behind the edge of the fountain. ShahZaM coming around just narrowly dodges the bullet. And it is going to be a 17-16. So enemy end up picking that last round of the half.
Yeah, just good crossfire there by Relyks and Uber to get a couple of kills and buy time for that banana flank to set in. So they're able to get at least one round before the half closes. So it will be 17-16 going into the second half. Remember, it's a race to 19. 18-18 split would lead to a second overtime of MR316K. So a slight advantage here for Conquest, I suppose, but both teams really did struggle on their CT side. So you definitely see another 2-1 split in favor of enemy, that leads to a second overtime, based on kind of how things went in regulation.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not unheard of. The only thing that's going to change things is the fact that the CT side does not have any problems with money. I feel like that was a big thing for enemy in the regulation, was controlling the economic flow. But the same could be said about Conquest, considering the score played out exactly the same. You could argue that both teams had control of the economy in the game, and as a result, the other team couldn't really put on the board the weapons they needed, the grenades they needed. They couldn't really get the play that they wanted to have.
True. We are going to see Conquest pretty aggressive at banana. Stanislaw is actually pretty much all the way towards the bottom. This is actually one of the first times I've seen this aggressive of a play. Usually they would put a lot of pressure there, yes, but never really crossing the barrier of car. But now you have Stanislaw, you know, really playing up front here, looking to see what he can't find. Daps backing him up from the car. Standard setup at the A side. Spam coming in through the smoke here from Stanislaw and company, but no one doing damage just yet. And now we are going to see the late A hit coming in from enemy.
MAiNLiNE getting that first pick is going to be a big one. And with that player pushed all the way up on banana and one anchoring down T stairs, that's Uber. All he has to do is hold the spot, and he spots Stanislaw. So now Stanislaw realizes he can't rotate down banana. He actually goes back towards the site, and that one peek has pulled another player into the B site. Daps getting the call from Stanislaw that it could potentially be a B play, and as a result, he's going to head towards B. And now there's only one player towards A on our side. That's hazed. He ends up getting behind the T side as they make their execution. But in the sites, it's actually ShahZaM coming up with a couple of big frags on the AWP. Finally getting site control is enemy, and they're going to be able to get that bomb down with about 10 seconds left on the clock. Daps in there a little bit quicker than Stanislaw. Stanislaw coming up from mid. It looks like it's going to be a traditional moto truck split. Daps eating that grenade. Only takes 2 points of damage. Great shooting from him to take down the first and the second. Kind of a solo job there. And now Conquest is on map and match point here at 18-16.
I thought enemy did such a great job there, like kind of just leaving a bit of a presence at banana enough to kind of make Conquest rethink things about rotating A. So they get like a big 4-on-2 execute. But, I mean, first off, props to ShahZaM. Like, close quarters combat with the op, able to find a couple of frags to get it into a 2-on-2. And then, obviously, Daps at the end, making that solo effort through Moto, through the smoke, to get a couple of kills and win the round. So, 2 big plays from Dash and ShahZaM. The salvage around that looked like it was enemies based on how it was playing out. Because they, tactically speaking, they played it really well. They just didn't win those duels at the end. And now we are going to see Conquest looking for the W. Again, Stanislaw pushing very aggressively down banana to kick things off. So exact same setup as last round. And enemy need to win out to force a second overtime.
It was such a good fight from enemy, but it does seem like they have a pretty difficult job here as Conquest sort of figured out what they need to do on their CT side at points in the first half. And after having that great T side of their own, they're really feeling it now, whereas enemy probably feeling a bit demoralized after having such an impressive half to only let it go to overtime. That's almost worse than, you know, having a close game that goes to overtime because you felt like the game was in your fingertips, and to let it slip away like this has, it's kind of mind-breaking for any player, especially players a little bit younger with a little less experience. They're going to let it hit them a little bit harder. And speaking of hit hard, it looks like they are going to go for a split B as the T side is executing 3 players up mid. That's ShahZaM in CT. He's going to have to be stalwart in his defense. He's got the op, gets the first one. He's looking for more. Still bloodthirsty in CT spawn. He's got that op just spraying away. No scopes galore. Finally picks off another one, making their way up Speedway. And there you go. ShahZaM basically winning the round for his team. It all came down to Koosta by himself, and it's going to be a 19-16 here as Conquest closes things out 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, the first map was obviously all conquest all day, right? Just a complete mowing. But that game was really in enemy's hands. They had an 11-4 lead coming out of the first half from their T side. They just needed to find a way to close from CT, and they couldn't do it. A problem that has plagued them for quite some time on this map, I feel like. And we get into overtime, and Conquest is able to do just enough better to win the game. And so they will actually move on to the upper bracket finals, and they will play the winner of Complexity and Luminosity for a slot for LAN. So Conquest well on their way to securing one of those 2 LAN spots with their win against Enemy. Meanwhile, Enemy will have to move down to the lower bracket to play against the guys down there for kind of a second chance at finding a spot for this LAN. So that is pretty much going to do it for tonight. I think we'll be taking the break, obviously, with it being the weekend. We know Fragbite Masters is going on this weekend, so be sure to check that out. But we will probably be back, I guess, Sunday or Monday. Some casters will be back Sunday or Monday to do some more StarLadder stuff.
Yeah, thanks for all the support, guys. Reminder, I have been your co-host, Bach, and with me was Dust Moret. We really appreciate all of you guys stopping by to check out what we had here. But a reminder, it was a 2-0 for Conquest, and like he said, they'll be moving on. And if you haven't checked out the LAN yet, the venue is the Minsk Arena. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Like, in my mind, I'm like secretly hoping, like, you know, they've asked me to do some of their stuff online. It'd be really cool if I could go to that arena. Hint, 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 hint. I mean, it's going to be an awesome event, and all of these North American teams fighting for their chance to represent North America there. And hopefully we'll have some better luck on the international stages than we've had in the last few events. But
yeah,
again, that's going to be it for us tonight. And I think that, like he had said, that's going to be it for us for this weekend. Thanks so much for stopping by, and we will see you guys next time.